Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Look, folks, this Saturday will make 2 weeks. A fortnight has passed since Errol Spence stopped Ugas. And Errol Spence went on to say how he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford, you're next. I'm coming for that bleep belt. Now, this is the thing. Almost 2 weeks have gone by, and there's really no pulse to that fight. Okay? There's a sense of excitement for fight fans, but there's no indication that Spence and Crawford are in any type of negotiation. What you keep hearing a lot about is Crawford willing to fight Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo saying how Crawford can get it. Keith Thurman's name floating out there for Crawford or for Spence. Imantis Stanionis' name is floating around now as a mandatory to Errol Spence for one of those belts, the WBA belt. So, and there are going to be other mandatories because Errol Spence has 3 belts now, so he's going to have mandatories. So, they got to figure out what's going to happen here because we know who Spence is with. No doubt. He's over there with PBC Al Heyman. Okay? We know Al Heyman can make fights with other PBC fighters, no problem. Who's on PBC? A whole lot of fighters, right? But the one fight that I keep saying this, man. There's one fighter who's gonna slip through the cracks, and he's gonna blow this Spence and Crawford stuff out the water. I really think that's Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman is gonna slip through the cracks, and he's either gonna fight Crawford or he's gonna fight Spence. Because see, this is the issue, right? Terrence Crawford, no one really knows what his deal is as far as who's he signed to, who's managing him, who's helping him make fights. You see, that's why when he was with Top Rank, they handled all that. He chose to do something different. Look, chances make champions. I support the decision he made. But I'm not sure his stuff is well thought out. You know, it's easier said than done to self-promote and to make big fights when you don't have a machine behind you. So Terrence Crawford has a belt. I think it shouldn't be difficult for him to make a fight with Spence because everyone knows who Crawford is, and they want to see that unification or for that undisputed distinction. But who are the lawyers involved with Terrence Crawford? Who's going to negotiate on his behalf? He's got to sort his business out quick because Errol Spence just fought, and he's looking to get back in the ring this year. Errol Spence has been out the ring not by choice. Okay, we all know the history with Errol Spence: car accidents, the eye. Terrence Crawford has been fighting, about once a year, if that, by choice. He hasn't had any injuries. You see, there's a difference between the two. And now here it is, Terrence Crawford, still no signs of being able to get to increase his activity now that he's no longer with Top Rank. So when are we going to see some movement as far as the Spence Crawford undisputed distinction bout? I don't know. But I let 2 weeks pass, but every week I'm going to do a video about it. And whatever I find, I'll post. But right now, there's absolutely nothing there. Now, I will tell you this. Bob Arum, he's sour. He's sour about Terrence Crawford. Because Terrence Crawford is out there helping Shakur Stevenson. And I have to commend Bob Arum because although Terrence Crawford isn't working with him anymore, Terrence Crawford kind of left a bad taste in Aram's mouth and Aram's staff's mouth. Aram said he and his top-ranked team prefer to take the high road because, remember, Shakur Stevenson is training in top-ranked facilities. Terrence Crawford is no longer with Top Rank, and they allow him to come over there and help Shakur Stevenson. They could easily come out there, turn their boot sideways, and shoot for the hole and say, get out of here. But they're not doing that. But Bob Errol made a comment about Terrence Crawford, and you guys let me know what you think, right? I think I understood what he was trying to say. He said he doesn't know if Terrence Crawford can handle Errol Spence. And this was his reason. He said because the way Spence performed at that level of professionalism, he doesn't know if Terrence Crawford is mentally capable of getting ready for that kind of fight based on his current situation as far as just not having a promoter and nobody knows what's going on with him. He's like, he just can't see if, he just doesn't think, from what he knows about Crawford, that he's capable of making the necessary decisions, picking the right people, putting together the right team to secure this fight and to ensure he has the right space and create the right environment and atmosphere around him to train and get ready for Errol Spence fight. So what I took from that is he's saying, because with Spence right now, he's got a promoter, he's getting good money, he's in a happy situation, got a solid trainer, has excellent sparring partners, and he has all the momentum and 3 belts. With Crawford, really, promoter? No. Any momentum? No. Sparring partners? I mean, I'm sure he can get sparring partners, but Top Rank was giving, guys. How's he going to get sparring partners now? There's a bill that has to be paid. These guys don't spar for free. So what else? Right now, Terrence Crawford really, he just has Bomac. So what Crawford was alluding to is that because he doesn't have his business sorted out, he can't possibly be mentally stable and mentally capable of even thinking about any negotiations until he sorts that out. Now, Bob wasn't kind of pushing to reinsert himself back into Terrence Crawford puzzle. Not at all. He's like, that's not our problem. But what I sense is it's almost a little bit of him kind of gloating a bit and saying, I told you so. Such an outstanding fighter that Terrence Crawford is. I personally think he beats Spence, right? I'm sure somebody's going to have something to say. But no matter how outstanding of a fighter Crawford is, he needs a team to be able to push him. And nobody's fighting to get him. The one person out there who, Lou DiBella isn't fighting to get him. Eddie Hearn's not fighting to get him. Nobody wants to touch him. And the piece that we need, this is where we need Terrence Crawford to start talking. He needs to shed light on that. What's going on? People know he has the talent. They know he's an amazing fighter. Like, that's not even the question. Many people feel that he beat Spence and he knocked Spence out. Then there's a lot of people feel Spence knocks him out. But the problem is, they're really worried about losing money on him. So if Crawford goes into a deal with someone, you better believe there's going to be something to make sure that they never, ever lose a penny. So Crawford's not going to get the big, the 80-20 split, 70-30 split with a promoter. He's not getting that. And, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm just assuming. But it's just sad to see. I mean, time is being wasted. So what you're gonna see happening here is you're gonna see um, what's his name, Thurman. Thurman's already out there talking. Very soon, I'll give it another. What are we in? April, May. By the middle of May. By the middle of May. By the time Canelo fights, right? There's gonna be a whole lot of talk about these guys because it's just got quiet all of a sudden. Now that could be a sign that Crawford and Spence are behind the scenes conversating, having discussions because they have each other's numbers. They text each other and talk. But aside from what they know and they're keeping to themselves, there's really nothing else out there. Just a bunch of people just throwing random crap at their videos and then posting it for us to follow. But Bomac is out there, and Bomac's saying that he feels that Terrence Crawford easily beats Spence. And from the outside looking in, you think about Terrence Crawford and being a switch hitter and having heavy hands and just being able to counterpunch and do the amazing things he does. That's why I'm giving him a chance. He's not Ugas, he's not these other fighters that Spence has faced. But Crawford hasn't faced anyone like Spence either. So, it's going to be split, but I just think Crawford is going to be able to clip him. Because Ugas countered Spence a couple times and he hurt Spence. And I just think if that's Crawford, because Crawford's like a honey badger. That motherfucker's wicked, man. Crawford's going to hurt you. He's going to get you out of there. But it's really unfortunate to see that there's really not much of a pulse. So I'm going to go out on the limb and say if we don't get any movement on this fight before the end of May, don't count on it happening. You better count on Thurman sliding in. I'm telling you, man, out of everyone that these two guys can fight, okay, aside from themselves, right? Let's forget about Spence fighting Crawford, Crawford fighting Spence. Who has a name that one of them can fight that they haven't fought already? Okay? Because Spence is coming off of an outstanding win against Ugas, but he got hurt in that fight a couple times. You don't care what anyone says. His ass got hurt. Crawford's coming off of stopping Porter. But he didn't knock him out, but he shook him up. But Crawford was losing that fight. But we know Porter is just a difficult fight. Now that I'm saying that, the work rate of Porter gave Crawford problems. The work rate of Errol Spence could give Crawford problems too. I didn't really think about that till I just said it. I still think Crawford beats Spence, but that fight's a lot closer than what I was thinking it would be initially. Just thinking about how Crawford was really down on the scorecard until Bomac said something to him, and then he stopped playing around. But it's a lot closer. But what I was getting at is they both look really exceptional in their last outings. But going forward, there's really no one else for them to fight. Spence fought Danny Garcia. Crawford could fight him, but Danny Garcia is talking about 154. He's not doing anything at all. They both fought Porter, and the only one that neither one of them have fought, whose name carries some weight, and you know what? It's Keith Thurman. But you know what the shocking thing about it? There are quite a few people who feel that Keith Thurman beats both of them. Quite a few people feel that Keith Thurman beats both of them. I'm talking about the Keith Thurman today, not the Keith Thurman before he got married. I'm talking about the Keith Thurman today. And I'll be honest, Keith Thurman was my favorite fighter. I still like Keith Thurman, but he's not the Keith Thurman, man, that was out there, clipping Porter, clipping Danny Garcia, knocking out Robert Guerrero, and everybody else. He's not the same guy. So I just don't think he's just going to get steamrolled, but I think he loses by the unanimous decision or gets stopped to the body. That's what I think, because he gets in there with a guy like Spence. Spence is going to be nonstop. But Keith Thurman is an excellent counterpuncher. He has that lateral movement, and Keith Thurman can fight, and he hits hard, and he can hurt you. So I understand why they give him a chance, but I don't think he'll get steamrolled, but I don't think he's going to win either. I just don't. But Keith Thurman, before he got married, I think he beats everybody. That Keith Thurman beats everybody. That Keith Thurman was special. But that's the only name out there for these guys. There's really no one else. And that puts Keith Thurman in a great position. Because now he gets a shot at least at one title or 3 titles. Because like a Mantis, nobody's gonna force Spence to fight him. And whoever the other mandatories are, if it's not a really, really big name of Fundora and what's his name, man? Fundora, those guys in 154. What's his name? I think there's really no one else, man. Really at this point, like it's a really big name. You know, they're not gonna fight Jerron Ennis and those guys. Virgil Ortiz. That's not gonna happen. Keith Thurman is the optimal choice, and that's what I think the play is gonna be. I have a feeling that's being discussed right now. Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, or Keith Thurman and Crawford. I think it's more Spence. There's a lot of history there. That fight's gonna sell. It's gonna blow up, but people are gonna be disappointed. People are gonna be pissed. Everybody wants to see this fight, but you know, there's just no life in it, man. So I know Spence is taking some time off, man. You know, he took some hard shots. He needs to recoup. He's out there on his farm, probably milking goats and collecting brown chicken eggs or whatever he's doing. But Terrence Crawford is, you know, it's like the big question mark is over Terrence Crawford. He's the one who's gonna hold all this up because he has to get his affairs in order and he needs to do it immediately. Like as soon as that happened, where he saw what Spence did, Crawford should have immediately worked to. If he was already in the process of getting his affairs in order, he should have immediately pushed to handle the business and get everything concluded so that we can have some kind of negotiations underway and the two of them can come and announce that they're in talks. That's what everybody's waiting for, and we haven't received it. And I honestly don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to get something else. And we may not even get Thurman. We may get stuck with a crap sandwich and then we all got to digest that. And that's not what I want to see. So we'll see what happens with these two. But right now, Bomac is saying that he's very confident Crawford beats him. I mean, Crawford is out there sparring Shakur Stevenson, so he's in the gym getting work. Who knows if this is a precursor to something like a big announcement. But, you know, when you start seeing these guys who are gym rats, when you really start seeing them in the gym consistently, you know, and that's a sign that they're getting themselves in shape or they're getting prepared for a hard training camp. Because Terrence Crawford is a guy who doesn't stay out the gym much. When you start seeing him, you know, and if we see more sparring videos or more training videos, people, you better believe there's some talks going on behind the scenes that just haven't been pushed out to the public yet. And I think there have been maybe some discussions, but I don't think anything that would materialize to announce a fight. I think it's just some soft talks, but nothing yet because, again, Crawford doesn't, as far as we know, he hasn't committed to anyone. There's rumors that he signed with PBC, 2-3 fight deal for $20 million. But that's all, you know, there's no proof. It's just talk, you know. But we'll see what happens, man. But that's my 2 cents on Spence and Crawford right now. Here it is, almost a fortnight has passed. And there's really nothing going on except talks about Thurman, talks about Crawford fighting Jamel, Bomac saying that Crawford's going to knock Spence out. It's an easy fight. And Spence just out there chilling on his farm, relaxing, without much to say except he and Charlo saying that they won't fight each other unless it's just like the type of money that you have to take. There's got to be like something ridiculous for them to take it. And I think if someone throws $20 million, each of them make $20 million, I can't see them not taking that fight. That'd be, I'm not gonna say that'd be stupid, but yeah, if they throw $20 million at me, my brother, and I have 3 brothers, my brother and I, especially when it's a year apart, well, any one of them, but we just have to get busy, man. And no matter what happens, we sit back and laugh about, you know, both of us have that $20 million in our pocket. So that's it on these two more to come. Hopefully Terrence Crawford gets his affairs in order. We'll get some kind of announcement that talks have begun, because that's what we're waiting for. But right now, just not really anything out there. So y'all keep safe. I appreciate the support. Shout out to all the veterans, and I'm in the breeze.